Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. Happy Wednesday. Today we have a wonderful build submitted to us by one Mr. Anthony. Wonderful duelist. I want to say that's like super creative because this is kind of like a cool smash up of different ideas that while I definitely understand how it works together, I'm not sure that I would have put this one together myself. Now, there are just a couple of small things that would change, and I'll share those on Friday because if you guys would like to give your advices as well, you guys can do that. And then, of course, you guys can critique my variant. But we're going to be playing a really different type of Iron Grit build. So, starting off with the skill, it is Iron Grit. Gearfried, the Iron Knight that you control, are unaffected by card effects. So this is going to get weird real quick. Gearfried is essentially just immune to a bunch of stuff, which is kind of cool because Gearfried is a 4-star 1800, just absolute whoop stick. And this deck actually makes great use of it as well as everybody around him. So it is a 24 card build. And let's just jump right in, right? So first off, copy of Banisher of the Radiance. This is better than Banisher of the Light in this deck because, of course, this one is a little more offensive. This one is 16 by 0. I think the other one's like 100 by 2K. The way this works, very similar to Macrocosmos. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So again, just kind of fantastic. It's going to set up a lot of checks against the opponent. Because again, anybody who's trying to build a graveyard to do any type of reverse tutoring, any type of resurrection, it's going to be really hard. Any cards that need to resolve in the graveyard can't because they don't make it. All sorts of cool stuff. Next up, 3 copies of the Different Dimension Survivor or the DD Survivor. Again, another great 4-star warrior. And during the end phase, if this was banished while it was face up on my side of the field during this turn, we get to special summon this banished card. This effect can only activate once per turn. And I would assume the effect of this card. So like if I have 2 of them and they both get banished, I do believe they get to both bring themselves back. But if you were to do something else during the end phase to redestroy them and have them banished because of Banisher, I don't think they come back a second time. I think that's the Achilles heel there. So again, really cool. It's really going to help us. 2 copies, Freed the Matchless General. Now, this is, of course, another little paragraph monster. 5-star, so we do have to tribute this time. 23 by 17. Negate any spell effect that targets this card on the field. When it resolves, if you do, destroy the card. During the draw phase, instead of conducting a normal draw, you may essentially reinforcement of the army. This card must be face up on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So he's sort of immune to spells, as long as they target him. And again, this sort of helps against things like Shrink, Book of Moon, things that would actually try to harm him. And again, just allows us to freely reinforcement of the army. So it's very good. He's definitely a general. 3 copies, Gearfried. Again, cannot be equipped with equip cards. If he does become equipped with a equip card, it just immediately pops. So you guys know how that works. And then the last monster is 2 copies of Marauding Captain. And again, this is great, especially in this deck. It's a nice generic effect. He's a good warrior. He's able to be searched out through Freed and Rhoda. The way that this works, when he is normal summoned, you can target another card in your hand that is 4 stars or less. Special summon it to your side of the field. I don't think you actually target it. But you do special summon an additional 4-star lower. And monsters your opponent control may not target warriors that you control with attacks, except for this card. Again, you can set up the infamous Captain Wall if you were able to summon both copies. So that is something to think about. Going to the spells, however, I think this is where you find that this deck actually gains most of its like oppressive abilities. So first off, 1 Book of Moon. Totally unlike me to see the single, and that's fine because this strategy only needs the 1. It is just a tech piece. It's not a staple here. Instead, the staple that you're looking for is the Grand Convergence. So Grand Convergence is this beautiful quick play. While you control macro, inflict 300 damage to the opponent, and if you do, destroy every monster on the field. So if we stop right there, here's what Anthony wants you players to know about this is Iron Grit makes the Gearfrieds immune to the Grand Convergence, while ensuring that DD survivors on the field that he has are going to just regenerate back to the field. And since they could technically be on the field and get banished because macro is in play in order for this to work, well, they're also free tributes for the freed. He just needs you guys to understand how good the interactions within this build are. It seems like a bunch of weird tech at first, but I promise you, this is like really awesome stuff. Next, he techs in a single copy of Shrink. Oh, no, sorry. I got my cards mixed up. There's actually two. There's two in here. And again, Shrink helps out with the smaller guys. Again, you got like Captain. Sometimes that's going to be enough to help him. Also, since we're not targeting our own Gearfried, and we're definitely not going to be targeting Freed with it, we're going to be able to swing through a lot of monsters. Reinforcement of the army. Again, this searches out any of our survivors, our Gearfrieds, or our captains. Again, I don't think Iron Grit stops that, but I'm not 100% sure. And then a single copy of United We Stand. So, again, once you have a card like Captain and you have a decently built board, Captain is probably going to be taking some attacks for you. United We Stand is going to block those attacks from managing to matter. Just initially on his own, this will bring him up to 2K. It'll bring him up to 2,800 as long as he brings his friend. So again, United We Stand Captain, kind of a crazy little combo package, but it's going to do what it needs to do. It also helps Banisher the Radiance just become a little more lively as it jumps up to a 3-star 2,400. So again, never underestimate the power of friendship. Going into the traps, it's very simple. There's only 5. We're going to use 2 copies Blast with Chain. I think everybody's kind of done hearing me talk about Blast with Chain and Gearfried. You guys know it's equipable to everything else. You guys understand that under a Grand Convergence detonation with something like a Captain or a Survivor, this effect should still resolve because it just says when it's destroyed by card effect while equipped. It doesn't say it needs to make it to the graveyard. And that is the important part here since we are going to be playing Cosmos. And again, that's the last card. You want 3 copies of macro. We need to guarantee this effect. By guaranteeing this, we guarantee the effectiveness of the Grand Convergence, and we get all the extra coolness. We don't need to know anything about the Helios effects. Instead, while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. And again, this just works wonders. So, again, kind of a crazy main build. Like I said, I can see a couple of things I would be changing. But for the most part, this is already spectacular. If you guys go ahead and take a screenshot or pause and make some notes real quick, I'll be back with the side deck in just a second. So don't go anywhere. All right. No extra deck, so just straight off to the side. And the side deck is amazing, people. So first and foremost, 2 copies of DD Warrior Lady. Obviously, when you're going to be able to play 2 copies of Reinforcement of the Army and you got 2 copies of Freed the Matchless General in your build to start, there's no reason for her not to be hanging around and be the ultimate tech. Yeah, it might be like a laser butter knife, but she's absolutely going to solve problems for you. She always has. She's always going to. Next up, crazy tech. I didn't think about this, but there's no reason not to be playing this. 2 copies share the pain, guys. So let's talk about this. So under Macrocosmos, right? Under Macrocosmos, we get some really cool stuff. We get the ability to just bring back the DD Survivor like crazy. Now, we keep the Banisher of Radiance as a tech piece in order to continue on that same road with the DD Survivors. Now, if we do this with the Survivor, we get our monster card back, but the opponent does not get theirs back. So when it says tribute a monster, make your opponent tribute a monster, and it's for no effect. So if they had something, say, Exiled Force, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not like you're going to need to tribute it for that. So again, share the pain. Kind of a crazy tech here. Definitely caught me by surprise. Second copy of Reinforcement of the Army. This makes sense. And Nightmare Wheel. So what we saw was a single Book of Moon in the main, 2 DD Warrior Ladies. That brings us to 3 3s. Rhoda in both the main and the side at 1 brings us to 2 2s. Nightmare Wheel, solid lockup on the 1-ofs. And again, it just sort of makes a monster just kind of out of the game a little bit. Just takes some like residuals, 500 per standby phase. This is good. Now, there are some things I would change about this, and it's not a lot, but I'm going to keep my opinions to myself for another day. We will come back on Friday. I will do my variant of this. This is beyond excellent as a base, and I don't know. My version might not even be better. This might be the better version, guys. So definitely get some time, test this out for yourselves. And then if you guys have any advice for this duelist, just go ahead and put that down in the comment section. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. So like, comment, sub, any of the support stuff that you guys want to do, go do that. Go have an excellent day. And we'll see you back on Friday. Later.